Dialogue is the lifeblood of a lot of modern video games, particularly if you like your games with a bunch of interesting story beats or characters that you're going to want to meet and wander around with and get to know. That said, while there's a lot of interesting interplay between you and an NPC, or perhaps NPCs between each other, you're not going to experience all of these great conversations. That's because some dialogue and events can be so rare, most players don't even know they exist. Even after hundreds of hours, some interactions can only be triggered if you perform overly elaborate things no one would think of unless you were actually trying to test the limits of the game. Or you happen to find them because of dumb luck. For example, did you know that your favorite Starfield companion can turn into a plant? Or that in Grand Theft Auto 5 there can be a duel between a werewolf and Bigfoot? Well, if you didn't, or you don't know the other 8 things I'm going to tell you about, stay tuned. We've got some interesting ones. I'm Jess from What Culture, and here are 10 rare hidden gaming interactions you probably missed.
Oi, you! What are you buying? What are you selling? Well, I'm so pleased you asked, because if you want to stay safe online and browse freely, NordVPN is running an unbelievable deal at the minute that gets you up to 76% off subscriptions and 3 months free. Just scan the QR code in this video or click the link in the description below, and it's all yours.
Simon's Brambling Debt, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a somewhat linear game despite its open-world nature. That said, there are still a few things the developers have prepared in case players did happen to do things out of order. In fact, there's an entire side quest that requires such a specific playing out of events which you probably wouldn't naturally do, that there's a very good chance you missed out on seeing this one even if you played The Witcher multiple times. The quest happens on Skellige and triggers only if you take the right actions during several other side quests. First, you need to complete the Phantom of Eldberg contract before starting the Coronation main quest. This will result in your quest giver being killed and Geralt being thrown into Madman Lugo's prison. Once there, you'll have multiple options to escape, but if you want to get the quest, you'll have to speak with one of the prisoners, Simon Brambling. He'll help you get out in exchange for a favor. If you agree, a few days later, Simon will be waiting for you near Caer Trolde Tavern. Here, he'll ask you for help taking revenge on his hunter, which triggers his unmarked quest. Settling the feud is a fairly simple task, but trying to actually trigger the thing in the first place is another matter entirely. Ninja Teleportation Lesson, The Sims 2. The Sims 2 Bon Voyage expansion pack adds 3 unique vacation spots for your Sims if they want to take a well-deserved break. However, aside from sightseeing and hitting the beach, each location features secret NPCs, the rarest of which can teach you the art of teleportation. In Takamizu Village, the player can stumble upon a ninja when visiting any community lot. Now, the man teleports to any spot on the lot at a random moment, so it can be particularly hard to spot him or find him. To make the entire interaction even trickier, the ninja doesn't stay on the lot for long, and if you want to learn how to teleport from him, you have to correctly answer one of his randomly chosen questions. If you don't pick the right answer, the ninja will immediately disappear and he won't respawn at that community lot again, making it harder to meet him with each mistake you make. And if that wasn't enough to make the teleportation lesson difficult to obtain, the developers also thought it'd be a good idea to randomize the answers, meaning the same answer will not be correct every single time. As you can imagine, all of this makes actually learning teleportation extremely rare, but the reward is definitely worth it if you can pull it off. The Beast, Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 features 60 random encounters all over its map. They can all be experienced on a single save file, as they're tied to specific locations and are guaranteed to appear at least once. However, there's one NPC that very few players will ever see, and that's because to see them, you have to execute a very long and convoluted sequence of events. Introduced in the free mode events update, the Beast is a secret werewolf boss that the player can fight if they manage to follow the steps of his equally hidden quest. To start your hunt for the NPC, you first need to 100% the game to unlock the peyote plants that allow you to turn into animals. Once you consume all 27 plants, the map will start spawning golden peyote plants, and those will let you transform into Bigfoot. Once you continue your peyote gorging rampage and eat all 7 of them, you'll find that you start hearing growls. Following the growls will lead you into a scrapyard, where you'll find a man sporting a werewolf mask and a leather jacket. Naturally, he'll attack you, which will trigger an epic fight between Werewolf Man and you as Bigfoot. Plant Sarah Morgan, Starfield. Usually, meeting companion NPCs in games takes place the exact same way on each of your playthroughs. That said, if you're playing Starfield and it's not your first run, when you run into Sarah Morgan, you might find she looks a little different than the first time you played. In fact, very different. In a really unusual, I don't think any other game has done this kind of way. What sets Starfield apart from other Bethesda games is its unique New Game Plus mode. Instead of the game ending or continuing after you beat it, Starfield allows you to restart your campaign with all of your unlocked perks in a brand new universe. This can be generated with a number of variations to the state of the world. Said variations can do things like alter the plot or the looks of certain places, but there's also a small chance it's going to change your companion Sarah. Quite considerably so, actually, as the game will turn her into a plant. Yes, your beloved follower Sarah, in fact, turns into a plant, like a potted plant. You'll run into her where you normally do, but instead of the intrepid adventurer, you get a small fern that is labeled Sarah Morgan. You can even talk to it, lamenting that your friend has become an inanimate object, making the transformation both hilarious and kind of unsettling. The Disciples' Night Out, Fallout 4. Fallout 4's open world is bursting with random strangers you can meet along your way to the next settlement. Not all of them come to you with good intentions, of course, as Fallout wouldn't be Fallout without its occasional raider attack. Well, there is one secret encounter that has friendly raiders, but it's so very disturbing you might have hoped they just attacked you instead. If you own the Nuka World DLC and you finish the story, allying yourself with the Disciples, a gang of ritualistic killers that's almost exclusively comprised of women, gives you a small % chance that you're going to randomly meet one of their leaders, Dixie, on the main Commonwealth map. Now, since Dixie is your ally, she isn't there to attack. Instead, you meet her and her friends as they're about to torture 2 captured settlers. The girl will ask you which one you think they should kill first, and even say that you're very welcome to kill off your pick yourself. Lovely. This is the only time in Fallout 4 when you have to listen to your victim beg for their life as you kill them. So if you aren't really prepared to go that deep into role-playing a deranged raider, maybe try to avoid Dixie when she's out hunting. Reverse Romanian Wilkinson, Monster Prom. Monster Prom is a dating sim meets party game in which you and up to 3 other players compete to woo one of your monstrous classmates and ultimately invite them to the prom. The game features hundreds of events and several secret endings, the rarest of which is Polly the Ghost attempting to perform a, quote, reverse Romanian Wilkinson, a legendary sex move she wanted to try before passing away. Yeah, it's a weird game. To even attempt to do the Wilkinson, you first have to pass a check on the random event in which Polly talks about it. Afterwards, you have to purchase a penguin mask from the school shop without an explanation. Then it's more random chance checks that lead to you asking Polly out. Spoiler alert, you never actually learn what the Wilkinson is, but you do get a saucy pic of Polly surrounded by all the items involved in the act, including a bag of pebbles, a salsa dip, and the penguin mask. It might be a good thing that we don't know what the Wilkinson is, I think. Let's put that one to bed. Solstheim Wizard, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Random encounters in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim are typically really predictable, as they tend to happen in designated spots. You can see most of them if you just travel around the map, but there is one really unique interaction in Solstheim that can be easily missed, despite being an homage to one of the most beloved and hilarious NPCs from back in the Morrowind days. While traveling through Solstheim's wilderness, the player can come across an unnamed Ultima wizard as they're working on a new spell. Before you approach him, you'll hear him mutter something about a book teaching him to touch the skies like a dragon. When you move closer, the wizard will immediately begin casting his spell, and then suddenly shoot up into the sky. He'll maniacally laugh to himself that he finally knows how to fly before he realizes the spell has ended and he's plummeting straight towards his death. The wizard is a reference to another mage from Morrowind who meets an identical fate trying to learn a fly spell. It's an awesome homage, although it can be hard to find because of how limited the spots for random encounters are in the Solstheim area. Skippy and Delamain, Cyberpunk 2077. There are plenty of places to explore in Cyberpunk 2077's Night City, and most of them usually come with an encounter with some unique NPC that makes it worth your trip to get there. However, if you want to experience one of the rarer secret interactions in the game, it's not about who you meet and where, it's about who you take to get to where you're going, to people that you take, things that you take to where you're going, and the interaction happens on the way. Flawless, you're welcome. Among Cyberpunk 2077's most beloved AI companions are undoubtedly Delamain, the AI cab company owner, and Skippy, the talking gun. Though both of them are part of two completely different side gigs, the game secretly includes an interaction between them if you bring Skippy to one of Delamain's rogue taxis. If you enter the cab while Skippy is unholstered, the gun will trigger its typical car dialogue about men's and women's car crash statistics, and that seems fairly normal, but then Delamain will suddenly comment on Skippy's line, calling him an impressive weapon, and the robotic pistol responds back with a thank you. The interaction is short, sweet, and to the point, but it's still enough to make you realize the developers really didn't skimp out on the details. The game had no reason to have these two machines interface at all, but the fact that they do have this conversation is pretty darn neat. Hard to find, but pretty neat. La Llorona, Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the best things about Red Dead Redemption 2 is the many random encounters with NPCs that you can experience as you ride around the Wild West. Some of them are easy to come across, while others are quite uncommon, as they require you to visit really remote locations. However, if there's one encounter that could be called the rarest, it's certainly the one you have with La Llorona. It also happens to be the scariest, so buckle up for that. La Llorona is a mysterious and ghastly-looking woman that the player can only encounter late at night deep within the swamps around Lemoyne. She's dressed in a rugged dress, and when you ride past her, you can hear her distinct weeping. Her eerie cries will probably already spook even the bravest cowboy, but when La Llorona gets extra creepy is when you approach her. Despite being seemingly busy mourning, when you walk up to her, she will immediately lunge at you with a knife, exposing her rotting face, after which a group of night folk will run in to help her murder you. The encounter is a reference to a real-life ghost story about a mother who drowned her children, so there's really just extra fuel to the nightmare inferno if you wanted it. Mayrina's Secret Dialogue, Baldur's Gate 3. When you count all of the lines of dialogue in Baldur's Gate 3, the game turns out to have a bigger word count than the Bible, around 1,300,000 words to be exact. This said, you're not likely going to see half of it, as a lot of the dialogue is there to work as a failsafe in case the player does something they're really not supposed to. And that's the case in this super rare interaction with Mayrina that's unlikely to be found unless you're particularly bored with the game or just trying to break it. When you visit Auntie Ethel's tea house in Act 1 and refuse to let her eat Mayrina, the hag will immediately attack you and then teleport herself with her victim before you can intervene. It should be impossible to prevent that from happening, as Ethel automatically teleports if your party doesn't manage to kill her in one turn. However, if you cast invisibility on Mayrina before Auntie Ethel attacks, she won't actually be able to cast teleportation on the girl and she'll leave her alone. This not only leads to a unique dialogue with Mayrina about Ethel's illusions, it'll also lead to an easier dialogue choice after defeating Ethel, since she no longer has her victim to bargain with. That's the end of that video, but do let me know down in that comment section if I was wrong in that title and you did not miss one or more of those interactions, and I will say congratulations, you're a better gamer than me. I played Cyberpunk for over 200 hours and I never knew that was a thing, so I've learned something today. I hope you have too. If what you want to do right now is learn even more things about your favorite video games, you are in the right place. We've got so many What Culture Gaming videos about all kinds of Easter eggs, references, secrets, dialogue bits and pieces, and things you didn't even know were in your favorite game. So there'll be a video on screen. You can click it. Go find something cool. Come back, tell me, we'll both know it, and then we'll go on. Better for it. Okay, I'm done with this outro. I hope you've enjoyed it. Ramble, appreciate you. See you in the next one. Bye!